Hello, welcome to LMC Media Community Conversations. I'm Maura Carlin, and we're speaking today with Lisa Boileau of Masks for New York. Lisa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us about Masks for New York, because I know that your organization has donated over 10,000 masks to hospitals, care facilities, senior centers, and the like. So how did this happen, and what are you doing?
It's a pretty exciting story. It's been a whirlwind month. 1 month ago, I read an article that was from a healthcare provider launching an appeal for people to sew masks at home. And I am a sewer, and so I post to my friends on Facebook. I never post, but I did. And by the morning, I had 60 volunteers. By the afternoon, I had 150 volunteers. We're now 250 volunteers strong. And we got going basically through hubs. So I started a hub on my porch with several tubs for fabric.
Describe what the hub is.
Yeah, so a hub is basically a central location where people can come. So all the volunteers, some of them can sew, but many of them can't, but they can donate fabric, or they can cut that fabric and bring it in pieces, or they can actually sew the masks, or they can just drive and they'll pick up the masks and they'll take them to wherever we're donating them. So the hub becomes a central source, and now we have 7 hubs throughout Westchester. In Purchase, White Plains is a new one, New Rochelle, Mamaroneck, Rye, Yonkers, and around those hubs there are volunteers, women mostly, who have been providing enormous numbers of masks, and they keep flowing in, and the day they flow in, they flow out. And we've supplied hospitals, as you said, senior centers, food pantries, and there's a growing list of people who need these masks, and everyone who's volunteering feels like they're really contributing.
So if someone wants to get involved in sewing or cutting or driving these masks, what do they do?
They go on our website, which is Masks4NY.org, and they enter in as a volunteer. They can send in the form, and it identifies if they can cut or sew or drive. And they should look on the hub on the site for their closest hub. And the closest hub to them, they can contact the person with their email, or they can just show up at the hub. They're always outdoors and covered, and they can just get going with whatever part of the process they are able to do. If they are not able to drive or go to the location or sew in any way, they can also give money, and the money goes 100% to materials for this process. Sorry.
I've read about shortages of people having trouble finding materials, or in particular the elastics. Are you finding that?
Well, I was ahead of the curve, and I bought 1,000 yards of elastic before I even started this. It was the very first thing that I did, because I knew that was the one thing that we would really need that couldn't be invented. And so that has held me over, and lots of people have bought elastics throughout on the journey of the last month. So we have been okay. We are having to continue to purchase, and it is a bit of an issue, but we are managing to find our way. The one other part of this process that I wanted to mention is that we partnered early on with Neighbors for Refugees, and they have 7 seamstresses that they identified. We call them sewists now, I suppose, men and women. And they, through donations that we've received, we've been able to actually pay some of these seamstresses, and they have made a sizable amount of remuneration, and even beyond that, I think they've really become empowered to such a degree that one of the refugees has actually now started her own business and is hiring other refugees and filling the need from the restaurants and the businesses in her local area. So that's a model that we are really proud of, and we're looking to expand.
It's actually interesting that so many of these refugees actually have sewing machines.
Well, where they didn't have sewing machines, we reached out to our whole community, and we had so many people who said, I have a sewing machine that I don't know how to use, or I've never used, please take mine. So we have no shortage of sewing machines, so that's great.
Were you surprised at how many people in this area do in fact sew?
I was surprised just about the groundswell of support in general for this program and how incredible it has been for bringing together all of these communities. I mean, through 7 communities throughout, but everybody has outreach into other areas. So I've been amazed. It's been a month of just incredible community building experience. And actually,
You have a new venture now.
we have a new initiative, exactly, which wants to build on that and on the refugee success. We're calling it Sew for Success, and we are making a partnership. We're about to launch it in partnership with Westcop. Westcop has 12 locations throughout Westchester, but we're starting the pilot at New Rochelle. And there we will be identifying seamstresses like we did with the refugees and sewists, tailors and seamstresses. And we will be receiving donations, hopefully, and we will be able to pay them to create masks that we then donate to hospitals and senior centers and community centers like Westcop, so that those masks still are donated for good use, but that their donations are being used not only for materials, but also to help these families who are in dire need. So we feel like it's a win-win.
I'm sorry, how do people contribute to Sew for Success?
We are in the process of setting it up today on my website, but in the meantime, you can go to Masks4NY.org and press donate. And 100% of the funds will go to the materials and sewers.
And that's also how you get involved if you want to be involved with
Exactly.
Masks for New York.
That's right. That's right. And we welcome anybody who would like to start a hub in their area where they haven't started one, or people who simply have some fabric that's in their closet that they need to offload. It's a good time for spring cleaning. And cotton fabric or cotton poly are both useful. And any funds, obviously funds are very helpful, because when we run out of fabric, then that's the end of the road. So we really do need to have fabric and elastic to keep us going.
Well, Lisa Boileau from Masks for New York, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for helping me out.